We walked hand in hand with Jesus and arrived at the section of fornication. Jesus turned to look at a woman who was totally covered with fire. When Jesus saw her, she started to go out slowly from the fire, although her sufferings never stopped. We could see she was totally naked and saw all of her physical characteristics. And her body was totally dirty, and she stunk. Her hair was all messed up, and she had a yellowish-green mud on her. She had no eyes, and her lips were falling into pieces. And she had no ears, just the holes. With her hands, which were bones charred black, she took the flesh that was falling from her face and tried to put it back on. But this gave her even worse pain. She then shook and shouted even more. Her shouts never ended. She was full of worms, and there was a serpent wrapped around her arm. It was very thick and had thorns around its body. And she had the number 666 engraved on her body, the number of the beast mentioned in the book of Revelations, Revelations 4:9. She also had a metal plate embedded on her chest, made from some unknown metal, and it was never consumed by the fire. On the plate was something written in a strange language, but we could understand what was written on it. It read, "I am here because of fornication." When Jesus saw her, he asked her, "Elena, why are you in this place?" While Elena was answering the Lord, her body twisted with the pains from her torment. She said that she was there because of fornication, and she asked the Lord for forgiveness over and over again. And then we started to see the events of her death. When she died, she was having sex with one of her lovers because she thought that the person she was living with was gone on a trip. However, he came back from his job and found her in bed with someone else. He then went to the kitchen and took a big knife and stuck it in Elena's back. She died and was taken to hell, exactly the way she died, totally naked. In hell, everything materialized, and she still had that big knife stuck in her back, causing her great pain. And by this time, she had already been in hell for 7 years, and she could remember every moment of her life and death. She also remembered when someone tried to preach to her about Jesus, that he was the only one who could save her. But now it is too late for her, and everyone else in hell. The word of the Lord talks a lot about fornication, and it is very clear. Fornication is having sexual relationships outside of marriage. 1 Corinthians 6:13. Food for the stomach, and the stomach for food. But God will destroy both of them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. Also, in 1 Corinthians 6:18, flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. When Jesus finished talking with her, she was covered with a big blanket of fire, and we could no longer see her. But we heard the sound of her flesh burning and those horrifying screams. I can't even describe them with words.